Home Security. Written by Winslow Swan. Audiobook narrated and produced by Edward James Beesley.
Well, this is, of course, our deluxe package.
Henry Young sat comfortably on his antique sofa, a cup of steaming hot coffee held between large fingers, listening patiently to the saleswoman. He sipped the liquid from the china cup, part of a complete collection that he had found at an estate sale. The appraisal of the pieces put it in the thousands. Henry had paid $5 for the entire set. While he came off to most people as a mild-mannered man, very serene and calm on the outside, he was a bull when it came to money. He had lived his entire 57 years making money by having an eye for antiques that most people would have looked over as junk. At the age of 10, while his mother was perusing the clothes at a yard sale, Henry had made his very first purchase. For the cost of a dime, he had picked up what appeared to be an old teddy bear. His mother had told him that it was his money to spend. She was surprised when Henry had taken the stuffed bear to an antiques dealer that his father had known. She was even more surprised when her little boy had sold the bear for $200. At that point, she never again questioned what Henry wanted to buy. Now, sitting in a large townhouse several miles outside of the city, surrounded by antiques that included furniture, knickknacks, fine china, artwork, and several hundred rare and first-edition books, he was happy. That was until the surrounding homes had started to be burglarized. The first victims of the thieves were the Marshalls, who lived only 3 streets over from Henry. They had purchased several items from Henry, and their house was full of not only the artwork but various electronic devices to make life less complicated and more entertaining.
I paid $12,000 for that security system,
Jim Marshall had told Henry the following day.
And the bastards just waltzed right in.
Oh, maybe you should have a dog,
Henry had told him. The second victims, the Harrises, did have a dog, as well as a security system. This, however, did not stop the perpetrators from walking off with 3 televisions, 4 computers, and several paintings. Since the thefts had taken place less than a week apart, Henry began to get nervous. He scanned the newspapers and magazines as well as the internet, hoping to find some sort of security system for his own home. The one that he had was the exact same one that both the Marshalls and the Harrises had installed. This did not make Henry feel safe at all. The advertisement that he had stumbled across was small, not very well presented, and contained little information. The only parts of the ad that Henry noticed were the phone number and the words "completely secured." Now sitting on his antique sofa and sipping coffee from fine china, he patiently listened to the pretty young woman going over the basics of their finest and perhaps most expensive security system. He smiled and carefully made mental notes over the pertinent points of the presentation.
So, Mr. Young,
Nora Stevens asked,
do you think that our company will be able to protect you?
Well,
Henry said, adjusting his legs.
It isn't so much me that I want protected, only the contents of my home.
Nora smiled. She had heard this from many of the clients which had purchased the deluxe package. She marvelled at the way the average person worried more about the material possessions than the actual life that they were living.
Do you subscribe to the service?
Henry asked. Nora again smiled, her enchanting smile that went over well with the male clients, and answered,
Oh, I really have no use for the system since I have so few personal possessions. However,
she continued, seeing the client's smile falter ever so slightly,
the company does feel that all of its representatives should enjoy the service. Well, at least that way we can give you an honest opinion.
So, what is your honest opinion?
Henry asked.
Oh, for the price,
Nora said.
And for what you were looking for, I highly recommend it. I usually do not tell about my own personal experience to new clients. However, I think that you would be interested.
Oh, do tell,
Henry said, now more interested than ever.
Well,
Nora began.
The company pays for the entire service, so there is no out-of-pocket cost for me. Well, a few months ago, when I had just started, someone did break into my apartment. Well, of course, I was not home, but I do understand that the system worked fine.
Oh, did the thieves get anything before they were caught?
Henry asked.
Well,
Nora hesitated before going further.
Nothing was taken, and the perpetrators were dealt with.
Nora saw the smile grow wider. To her, this was the sure sign that a sale was imminent.
So, what do I need to do?
Henry asked, waiting for the price that he was all but ready to pay to be displayed.
You need do nothing,
Nora informed him.
We do all the work. By signing the 3-year contract, you are completely guaranteed safety in your home. We do require a 24-hour period so that our technicians can install the new system.
Henry frowned a little.
There's no need to worry, Mr. Young,
Nora assured him.
All of our techs are fully licensed and bonded. Rest assured that there will be no holes in your lovely walls or dangling wires. As a matter of fact, the system is completely invisible.
Henry took the forms that Nora offered and began to read.
What does this mean?
Henry asked, pointing to a paragraph.
We simply need to know your basic routine,
she said.
When you go to bed, what time do you usually wake up in the mornings? Just simple things so that we can program the system.
I see, I think,
Henry said, continuing to read.
It's going to be some sort of a keypad to enter in a code to turn off the system?
He asked.
As I have explained, Mr. Young, the system is entirely invisible,
Nora said, her tone a little more stern than before.
Once installed and programmed, it will be automatic, and you will have no need for codes or special passwords.
Henry smiled again. He had always had trouble remembering codes and series of letters and numbers. He could not count the number of times that he had had to reset his password just to check his emails.
What does this mean?
Henry asked, and read the passage to Nora.
The party of the first part shall supply the party of the second part the annual fee which is required during the course of the contract.
That simply means,
Nora said,
that you agree to pay for the service. Since you are purchasing the deluxe package, all fees and sacrifices are included for the 3-year period, after which you can renew the contract at a considerable discount.
Henry wasn't sure that he had heard Nora correctly, but let it pass.
So, where do I sign?
Henry asked. Nora reached into her briefcase and retrieved what appeared to be a pen. Leaning over toward Henry's outstretched hand, she pressed a small button on the pen, and a very sharp needle pierced the index finger, drawing a small red patch of blood. Henry yanked his hand back and looked at the blood on the tip of his finger.
What the hell?
He said. Just before he could put his finger into his mouth to try and stave off the bleeding, Nora reached over and grabbed his hand. While she seemed to be small and petite, she had a very strong grip, Henry observed as he tried to fight for his hand.
Please, Mr. Young,
Nora said with that winning smile.
it is simply our way of binding you to the contract. Ink isn't worth anything to our CEO.
Blood? You want me to sign this thing in blood?
It is the only way that we can go ahead and install the system,
Nora said.
Believe me, it is only a little blood, and we do guarantee our services.
Henry thought for only a moment before tracing his name on the dotted line at the bottom of the last page of the contract. Nora looked at the signature, smiled, and then handed Henry a small wad of cotton for his finger. Placing the signed papers into her briefcase, she stood up.
It was a pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Young,
Nora said, shaking the man's hand vigorously.
I am sure that you will be most pleased with our services. The technicians will be here first thing in the morning, so you will need to make other arrangements for 24 hours. Afterward, you will be fully protected.
Henry watched the young woman walk to her car in the driveway. His finger had begun to throb slightly from the prick of the needle. He saw the car pull out, and for the first time noticed the license plate number reading DEV 666.
Coincidence,
he muttered. A phone call later, he was booked into the Marriott downtown for the following evening. Henry was livid. When he had first arrived home the following morning after the system was installed, he had been rather pleased. The old alarm system with its keypad and different motion sensors had all been removed. The hole that would have been present had been professionally covered, and there had been no trace that anything had been on the wall. Bonded and insured or not, the first thing that Henry had done was to take a quick inventory of his home. Everything seemed to be in place. Nothing had been moved that he could see. There did not seem to be any device of any kind anywhere in the house.
Perhaps the main system is outside,
Henry said to himself. A look around the grounds of the house revealed nothing. There was not a hint that any mechanical or electrical device had been installed anywhere. It wasn't until he went to his bedroom that he noticed the first sign of vandalism.
What the hell is that?
He said aloud. Painted on the inside of his bedroom door was some sort of triangles, circled with the points touching the outer circles. Strange symbols and unfamiliar words were printed inside the pentagram. Henry could only stare at the archaic carving, for indeed it had been carved directly into the mahogany wood of his bedroom door. As he looked closer, the carving had been quite deep and had been filled in with some sort of deep red paint. He was speechless. His jaw only opened and closed, his mouth trying to find the proper expletives to use against the company that now held a 3-year contract with him. He remembered putting his copy of the contract into the small fireproof safe under his bed. Crouching down, he slid the safe out, and only then did the word "fuck" escape his lips. With a great deal of effort, Henry managed to move the bed over by 3 feet. Looking down at the hardwood floor, he saw the same symbol carved into the wood. He made his way downstairs, huffing and puffing and angry beyond words. With the contract in hand, he sat on the antique sofa and reached over for the phone that normally sat on the table beside the sofa. What he felt was not a phone, but a small wire cage. Inside the cage was a small white mouse, desperately trying to escape.
You have got to be kidding,
he said as he took the mouse, cage and all, to the end of the driveway and threw it as far as he could across the street. He saw the cage arc and fall into the field beyond, breaking open. He watched the small, terrified mouse scurry away into the underbrush.
Guaranteed safety, my ass!
Henry said as he walked into the living room. A creeping fear began just around the base of his spine as he picked up the phone. Checking the contract, he dialed the number to Nora Stevens, his own private security specialist.
Nora Stevens, how may I help you?
This is Henry Young, Miss Stevens, and I have several thousand questions for you,
he began.
I will be happy to help you in any way that I can,
she continued.
If you will simply leave me your name and client number, I shall contact you as soon as is convenient.
A goddamn recording!
He yelled into the receiver. Slamming down the phone, he made his way to the kitchen where he poured himself a very stiff drink. Around midnight, he found himself asleep on the antique sofa. The ringing of the phone had awakened him from a nightmare that had included strange symbols and giant white mice running around his home.
Hello?
He said blearily.
This is Nora Stevens, Mr. Young,
she said.
I noticed that you had called, but you did not leave a message.
Yeah,
Henry said, rubbing his eyes.
Hang on a second.
Henry laid the phone down and looked around the darkened room. He felt the presence of someone or something before he actually saw anything.
Why don't you just hang the phone up?
The figure said.
Who are you?
Henry asked, trying to adjust his eyes to the darkness.
Let's just say that I am the man with the gun, and I promise not to kill you if you just give me 5 minutes to get what I came after and leave,
the voice told him.
Mr. Young,
Nora said.
Are you there? Like I said,
the voice from the darkness said.
Hang up the fucking phone.
Henry opened his mouth for a split second at first to warn the voice. What he was seeing made him remain silent, for there was nothing that could have described what he was seeing.
Didn't you hear me?
The voice asked. Henry watched in horrified awe as a dark presence slowly appeared behind the man with the menacing voice. He heard a low, growling chuckle coming from somewhere behind the thief.
Who is that?
The voice asked.
Mr. Young?
Nora said, now fear rising in her voice.
Are you calling me from your bedroom?
Henry did not dare move towards the phone, fearing that the thief truly had a gun and would take the move as a threat.
Who else is in here?
The gunman asked menacingly. The red eyes seemed to appear from the mass of blackness and stare at the gunman.
What the hell?
The gunman asked. It was his final words. Henry managed to reach over and turn the lights on. He regretted the move the very second that he had done it. The gunman made a low, guttural sound as his chest was ripped open wide. Entrails fell to the floor, covering the oriental rug that Henry had imported. Blood spurted over the china cabinet and dripped down the glass front. An invisible hand grabbed the head of the thief and began to twist it like the top of a soda bottle. With a force that Henry had not believed possible, the head popped off and was tossed aside. Blood spurted from the gaping neck, covering the ceiling.
Mr. Young, what is going on?
Nora said, now panic in her voice. Henry managed to pick up the receiver and said,
What the hell have you put in my house?
Mr. Young, are you in the bedroom?
She asked.
No, I'm in the living room. Would you like to tell me what the hell I'm seeing?
Something that you were not supposed to see, Mr. Young. Please tell me that the mouse is gone from the cage.
She asked.
Oh, it's gone all right,
Henry said, and told her what he had done.
Oh no,
Nora said.
Listen to me very carefully. You need to get to your bedroom where the protection spell is while the demon is busy.
What demon?
Henry asked.
The one that is currently taking care of the person who broke into your home. Now get to your goddamn bedroom and lock the door!
She practically screamed.
I swear, I will sue you for everything!
Nora listened intently. She heard the receiver fall to the floor, listened as her client, a Mr. Henry Young, was slowly devoured by the servant of her boss. Very quietly, she hung up the phone. Checking the number, she dialed the crisis hotline.
Yes, this is Nora Stevens, number KT8429. I have an accident with a new client,
she told the operator.
Has the client been dispatched?
The cold voice asked.
I believe so,
she said.
The demon will clean up everything, and there will be no trace. A removal team will be sent in the morning. Was the contract signed?
Yes, it was,
she said.
Very good.
Said the hollow voice from some netherworld.
2 for the price of 1, wouldn't you say?
Does my commission still stand?
She asked.
Of course, as long as the client paid in full.
The voice told her. Nora smiled and said,
Oh, that was all I wanted to know.
Nora hung up the phone. Lying in bed under the satin sheets, she looked over the potential clients that she would call on the next day. The way that she had figured things, she would be able to retire within a year. She turned off the lights and laid down, safe and secure. The moonlight shone through her window, illuminating the carving on her bedroom door. She heard the low, guttural laughter coming from somewhere within her apartment, and slowly and comfortably fell into a deep sleep.
Epilogue. The butler did it. Chills run up and down your spine. There's a creeping sensation at the back of your neck. You're listening to Doorway to Nightmare. Join me, Artemis Black, as we venture through into a world of the strange and uncanny. Here's a sample of what we mean.
You just had to do it, didn't you, Owen?
I'm sorry, Jasmine, but you have no idea what I've seen.
I don't care what you have seen. It's just like all the other jobs, good jobs, that you have been fired from because you won't stop asking questions.
Don't you think that I have a right to know what I'm hauling around all night long?
For the kind of money that you're making, I wouldn't care if you were driving around with a truck full of drugs and dead bodies.
Video versions Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Audio-only versions Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Join us. We will be lurking for you.
Have you heard any good books lately? Audiobooks from Winslow Swan, now available on Spotify.
Hey guys, this is Crimson.
And this is Swan, and we'd love to know what you think of the stories.
Even if it's bad.
So leave us a comment.
Or give us a thumbs up.
Thank you.